Good morning. Welcome to this edition of Success Unlimited. Kevin Broughton coming at you today, hopefully with some tools and tips and strategies that'll make you have a better day. And I'm 100% convinced that's true on this episode because I am here today with my good friend Doug Catteray.
Thank you, Kevin.
And Doug and I have been working together for approximately 12 years now, going on 13. And not only have we worked together, but we've become dear friends, and he's a valued guy in kind of my inner circle. But I've learned a ton from Doug, and over the years I've got to watch him coach hundreds of people, and I've picked up on one topic in particular that Doug is passionate about that has helped me and many loan officers across the country have a better life and have a better business. And today's topic that we're going to talk about, he calls the 6 gauges. And of course, I had no idea what he was talking about the first time I heard it, but I got to look at these 6 and I started using them in my own personal business, and I run a better business today because of those. So, A, welcome, Doug. Thanks for being here today. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate that. Glad to be here.
B, do you mind just sharing briefly kind of what the 6 gauges are and how they impact the life of a loan officer? And then I'll chime in with some questions as you go.
Sure. So the reason that I came up with these gauges is because I find that a lot of times when we are trying to grow a business, we have a hard time letting go. And letting go because there's so many data points in our process. So the 6 measurables that I focus in on with my clients is going to be 2 in ops, 2 in sales, and 2 in ownership. Let's start with the ownership. Those are the 2 largest that I find help drive a principal owner's or manager's focus. It is the number of units that you close in a 90-day window. It's like a sliding 90-day window that we pay attention to. Then it's the net profit per loan. I find that these 2 aren't everything, but they're 2 of the largest that if we can zone in on, it really helps bring some clarity. The sales piece is a little bit different because you focus on the number of referrals that are brought into your business and the conversion rate. I'm amazed how many times that I talk to high producing originators and branch managers, and they have no idea how many referrals that their team brings in or what the conversion rate is from application or from initial phone call to closing.
All right, so let me ask a question. I got to interrupt for a second.
Sure.
So just so I'm clear, we're visualizing a dashboard.
Yes, like the dashboard in your car.
On your car.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And the first 2 on the owner side, which would be the branch manager or the loan officer, would be the net profit per loan and a 90-day sliding window of how many units you closed 30 days ago in the current 30-day segment and in the future 30 days.
Correct.
30 days out.
Correct.
So that's 1 gauge.
Correct.
The second gauge is the profit per loan.
Correct.
So far we have 2 of the 6.
Correct.
Then you just jumped into sales.
Yes.
And the next 2, so gauge 3 and 4, would be revolved around number of inbound referrals.
Yes.
And the conversion rate of those referrals.
Correct.
Is there a difference in the inbound referrals from warm sources versus cold sources, or if they buy leads, do you often see the conversion rate is drastically different than from
absolutely.
Okay, all right. So
absolutely.
do you chart both if the person buys leads as well?
Correct. I think that most business owners, if they're buying leads, know that the conversion rate on leads is different than organic referrals. And so lower. In order to have an accurate depiction, I always recommend tracking both. Tracking a lead sourced business versus an organic source business. So past clients, current clients, referral partner relationships versus buying leads on whatever mechanism that you guys decide to buy them from.
And from a warm lead, what sort of conversion rate do you see the top performers having in what range?
You know, up until probably the last 2 years, I would say that it was around 35%, but I've been shocked. The more that people focus in on what I call the care model, we're starting to see that number gain in excess of 45%. Some have even touched the 50% mark. And that was a shock to me. But it was really impressive when we figure out how to dial in those metrics and focus on organic business. It's shocking how high you can get that conversion rate up.
Good. We're going to have a whole segment on conversion. And what are the last 2 gauges?
So the last 2 I find are probably the 2 largest because it gives us as originators and branch managers the biggest pain, and that is getting our staff, getting our operations to focus on something that actually matters. And so there are so many data points in the process, but I found that two of them matter the most. The first one is the clear to close standard. I believe that there always needs to be an expectation of why we're doing this, and for us it's the definition of getting a clear to close how many days prior to the settlement date.
Okay.
So some branches have a 24-hour window, some branches have a 7-day window, all of which is used to help amplify the business when it comes to the sales side. But if your operations team can dial in on that CTC standard, it changes the whole game because it gives your operations team something to shoot for besides just closing on time. The second measurable in there is going to be the current client referral standard. We all know about asking for the business, and most of us do it on a consistent basis, but we all could have room for improvement. Operationally, our teams don't ask for the business like they should. They're all really good at getting moments of gratitude, generating thank yous, but they don't ask for the business. And so if we can focus on the current client referral standard and the CTC standard, if those two measurables were being met and we were grading our team based on just those two benchmarks, would there be any reason to think that the ops was either doing an A job, B job, or C job based on whatever your benchmark is?
You should be able to figure it out. So what you're saying, just so I'm clear, is every loan originator in the country, every branch manager in the country who produces should have a clear to close standard.
Yes.
And that could be 7 days in advance of the settlement date. It could be 3 days in advance. It could be 24 hours. That's up to the loan originator to pick. The more time, obviously,
what does it
leads
generate?
to, well, a smoother end result. Because if
stress.
you're getting a clear to close 6 hours before the closing, that's going to create a lot more stress than if you got it 7 days prior. Correct?
But it goes beyond that because you take those two standards in the ops and it actually helps the sales side because it helps the number of referrals increase because you're asking, plus it increases your conversion rate because you're getting more organic business from sources of business that you're currently doing loans for.
So the sixth gauge, though, is the current client referral percentage.
Correct.
So what that is literally a gauge that says if I currently have 14 clients working, my goal is to get 4 referrals from that group or some number that's a percentage, and the gauge dictates whether you're meeting the percentage or not.
Correct.
All right, so I'm going to try to recap these.
Okay.
There are 6 gauges. The first 2 deal with the owner-operator.
Correct. Branch
the
manager,
loan officer,
loan
the
officer.
branch manager, and that is net profit per loan and the 90-day window.
Correct.
How many units did I close 30 days ago? How many am I closing now? And how many will I close 30 days from now?
Correct.
So the sliding scale always moves, but you always want to focus on those 90 days because they give you a great indicator of how the future is going to be.
Correct.
Okay, so that's 2 of the 6 gauges.
Yes.
The next 2, recap the next 2 for me.
Next 2 are
That's
sales. Correct.
Okay.
Number of referrals,
Yes.
inbound, whether they're leads or organic,
Okay.
both tracked.
Okay.
And the second measurable is the conversion rate of those inbound opportunities to actually pre-approved, pre-qualified, qualified individuals.
So in a great business plan, you would have a target number of inbound
Correct.
referrals per month.
Correct.
And this gauge is going to show exactly where you are in relationship to that number.
Correct.
And then you're going to have a conversion percentage that you're striving for, and the gauge is going to show whether you're hitting that, falling short of that, or exceeding that.
Exactly.
Great. Now we're down to the last 2 gauges.
Right.
And that is the clear to close standard and the conversion of existing clients to bringing in referrals. So that's
current
from
client
the
referrals.
staff.
Yep.
So the staff has to be asking throughout the
Correct.
process during moments of gratitude when you've provided something of value to the client, you've earned the right to ask for a referral. And if the staff had a goal and a plan and that was coming true on a regular basis, then the operator would have a goal for what percentage of inbound referrals should be received from the team based on providing these moments of gratitude and creating an experience for the borrower.
Exactly.
Correct. So what I hear you saying, Doug, is if a owner-operator, a loan officer, or branch manager were able to look at these 6 gauges on a daily basis, they should
I
have...
would just say weekly. You don't even have to do it daily. But if you got that measurable,
Yes.
at Friday at 5 o'clock and there was a grade against your benchmarks against what was actually happening, you would have a plan on what you needed to focus on as an owner-operator come Monday.
Perfect. So if they did this every week,
Yes.
if it was well-defined, and if the data points were entered properly into these 6 gauges so that we could have accurate and real answers to the 6 areas of concern, not one loan originator in this country shouldn't know every Friday evening going home for the weekend what shape their business is in.
You could literally be on a deserted island and get this email with those 6 data points and be able to tell whether your business is healthy or unhealthy.
Great. And your current clients use these 6 gauges on a regular basis?
Most of them, yes.
Excellent. And have you seen most of them have an increase in their productivity and in their outcomes that they've produced?
Absolutely.
Great. So those are the 6 gauges. My friend Doug is a full-time nationwide coach. He literally has clients from California to Maine, and he's helped a tremendous number of people in our industry have a more fruitful life, have a more fulfilling life, make more money, and to be able to enjoy the fruits of those labors by having some freedom in their life, which is the bedrock and the foundation of everything that we try to do. So, Doug, I thank you so much for sharing today. You've been a wealth of knowledge for me. I have slightly different gauges, but I have 6 of them, and I do review them every single week, and they have brought stability and predictability to my business. Far greater than what I had prior to you teaching me that principle. So I appreciate that. I hope everybody tuning in to Success Unlimited got some value today. We're going to have Doug back and discuss the CARE model soon. It's really unbelievable model that helps with everything we just discussed. So tune in to the CARE model, and appreciate your time today. Tune in to Success Unlimited as often as you can, where we try to bring tools and tips and strategies every week to loan originators across the country, regardless of where they work, in hopes that they have a better life. So thanks so much, Doug. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
And
Thank
both
you.
as a mentor and as a friend.
Appreciate it.